I want to talk about another case I did at Camp Pendleton out in California. It was a Marine case. We had an E6 client, and he was accused of sexually assaulting a coworker one night after a night of drinking and partying. And this is a fact pattern that's fairly typical in the military. You have a bunch of people that work together. They go out, they get drunk. It was for my client's birthday. And what happened before the allegation was made is that his coworker, this alleged victim, another E6, was on the party bus with everyone. There was a lot of flirting, touching going on. And his wife, my client's wife, confronted this woman and was like, get away from my husband. I know you're coworkers, but knock it off. You're harassing him. You're hitting on him. You're basically coming on to him in front of everyone. And I'm here with my friends, with some of our family members. Knock it off. Well, the E6 alleged victim really didn't like that too much. So she started sniping back at her. They're bickering back and forth all night. Instead of just leaving her husband alone, she continues this behavior. So then the next day, everyone goes back to my client's house, passes out, like about 15 people. And the next day, she gets up and she decides to give a little, flip the bird to my client's wife. So she calls my client's wife's best friend, who she doesn't even really know, and tells her, her husband came on to me last night. The friend immediately tells the wife. The wife gets mad at the husband, threatens to leave with the kids. It turns into this huge issue. And so then some texting goes back and forth between my client and the alleged victim, where he's trying to figure out what is going on here. He thinks that they're talking about the fighting on the bus, the fighting with his wife. He's telling her, I can't be friends anymore. He's saying that his wife's going to leave with the kids. They took that text message and twisted it as if he made a confession. So as the case moved forward, we were facing a fairly credible witness. If you watched her video, she was very straightforward. She's working in Marine special operations right now. She's an intelligence analyst. The problem is you can't always judge a book by its cover. So as we prepared for court, we uncovered some evidence that revealed that this person isn't what she seems. So she testified, and we stood up and we confronted her with the fact that she had stolen just recently over $20,000 in BAH. She was living in government housing with another family, not paying rent for that building. She was basically using their spare bedroom while she went to the housing office, got her BAH started at an E6 rate, claimed that she lived at another address. And it turns out, because we contacted the landlord, our defense team did, she hadn't lived at that address for years. She wasn't living there at the time, and the landlord didn't even know who she was. He had to dig up her information to say, she doesn't live here. So she provided all that false information, and whatever goes with getting your BH started was pocketing the BH, and then had the guts and the foolishness to go on Instagram and publish pictures of her in the government housing, in someone else's government housing, on move-out day. It showed the Mayflower truck coming on Instagram. She's loading her motorcycle onto the Mayflower truck, saying, bye-bye, California, I'm on my way to wherever she was going, and put all this stuff out there, and then was bragging to friends about what she was doing. So from the beginning of her cross, boom, we hit her with that, the lying, the stealing. She was looking around at the judge for help, looking at her lawyer for help. They got completely caught off guard because they took her word for it. So the bottom line is her credibility went down the toilet. The next thing she didn't think we would be able to do is we found her ex-boyfriend who was at the party. So she went to the ex-boyfriend after this alleged assault and asks him if it was him that came and crawled on top of her in the couch, trying to rekindle the romance. And she also told other people she doesn't know what happened because she thought she was dreaming. So all these things came up. So as we were heading into the trial, we were getting these witnesses lined up. The government approved them. And about a month out, the government started denying witnesses, key witnesses on the defense side that were relevant, that were ready and willing to testify. And they were doing it for silly reasons, such as, the person has to go to training. They're not going to be in town. I mean, this is a federal felony court-martial where my client would be a sex offender, and they're denying witnesses because the person has to go TDY. So we ended up in a fight with them over getting these witnesses live in court. In the end, we hit him on cross with the BH fraud and the lying. We hit him with the fact that she was telling people she didn't know who it was and she thought it was an ex-boyfriend, which alone causes doubt in everyone's mind right there. So as we went into closing, they were kind of scrambling and did the standard argument, well, you got to believe the victim. Why would she lie? Well, I don't know. People lie all the time, but if you're willing to lie and steal BH money and then try to quibble and argue about why you did it, or try to rationalize it on the witness stand, then you're not to be trusted, especially as an E6 in the United States Marine Corps. So our client was acquitted of all charges, specifications, went back to his family, and we wish him the best in the future with his career and with his life.